Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Today, we're going to take a trip back through time, all the way back to the mid to late 90s. And the co-captain on this ship is Don. He gave me an idea for this video in a question that he asked me on my Facebook page. So he was recalling back in the mid to late 90s, Gibson used to list custom shop guitars in a gallery of one-offs or very limited production guitars on their site. And then he started talking about a Les Paul model that was heavily sculpted and rounded to reduce size and weight. And apparently this was during the same era where Gibson was eBay, or the current day Reverb. That just blew my mind. I had no idea Gibson did that. So this was Gibson history I just never knew. I was just barely getting out of diapers at this point in time. So to spare him all the details, I just told him I wasn't into guitars at that point, so I have no first-hand experience with any of that. However, I don't know if you guys know this, but archive.org, or you can search the Wayback Machine, you can look at websites if they happen to have been documented back then. So this is what I did, Gibson.com. We can go all the way back to approximately 1997, which is way farther back than I was expecting. Get ready to see the very primitive days of the internet as we visit January 27th, 1997. Do you guys remember when websites used to look like this? So let's go ahead and see if we can find the guitars this guy's talking about while we just explore vintage internet. So here we can see a beautiful photo of an R6 reissue. We've got links to dealers, instruments, shopping, friends. What's friends about? Okay, friends are friends of Gibson. But to be honest, I don't recognize a lot of that stuff. And what's with that? I like how they're bragging right here, how they're one of the earliest guys that has 5,000 pages on their musical instruments website here. But I'm not seeing any signs of that online marketplace, so maybe we'll click on shopping here. So we've got the Gibson store. Okay, it just looks like it's telling you, hey, you can shop for our guitars at these locations. But ooh, how about this? Ron Wood and Friend checks out signature prototypes. Okay, so that's Rolling Stones guitars, if you're not familiar. Signature model Firebird. Oh, cool. We gotta really zoom in here. I didn't know he had a signature Firebird. I know of his L5S reissue, so maybe that just became a prototype that was never produced. I mean, it's amazing what you can find on these old websites. Even searching this, that doesn't pull up that photo. Okay, so he was going to get a Firebird, a J200, and a Dobro last month in LA. And he used them on his album, but some of them didn't become. I mean, maybe I'm just not familiar with it. Feel free to fill me in. Well, it looks like they just went with the J200, because here that is. There's a lot of cool custom shop acoustic guitars that I've just never heard of. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's got like the flames around it, the whole double pickguard situation. You've got the crown or fire. I'm not sure what type of inlays they call that. Just a nice natural back and sides. And, ooh, that's kind of cool. His signature inlaid in mother of pearl. Yeah, I had not heard of that one. And I'm not seeing any photos of the Dobro that they're talking about. So at least one of those things happened. Oh, man. 1997 NAMM sneak preview Les Paul double cut. Is that what he's talking about? A double cutaway studio. Yeah, so you can get these on Reverb relatively inexpensively. I mean, we're talking $800 to $1,200 depending on color condition and top and all that. But you can also get the higher end standards. Okay, so that's not exactly what we were looking for, but kind of cool to see. These are, the initial photos that are showing us what we live and love and worship yet today. Like here's the Ace Frehley model. If I'm not mistaken, that's the first one, 1997, the Lucky 300. And here it talks about how they're doing the production run Les Paul Ace Frehleys after the initial 300. Okay. Fantastic. Original photos of a Les Paul Pee-wee, the 1997 run. My Pee-wee was one of the earlier ones. It's a shame that I had to modify it for your guys' viewing pleasure. But when I bought it, I didn't know it was one of the earliest ones. It's not like it's a super collectible item, but yeah, I've got that amp. I still have the Pee-wee Les Paul. It's still fully upgraded. You can check out those reviews and demos if you'd like. Then moving on to 1998, you can get a free set of Gibson strings. But this interests me, the Tennessean. I actually have a prototype guitar. That's from the late 80s of a Chet Atkins model. I'm curious, is it talked about in this article? But oh, I love photos like these. So we got to zoom in really good. They're not the best photos. You can tell that's one of the, oh, yes, Fruit of the Loom, the Hawk. Yes, I love that guitar. This is that era when Gibson was partnering with any company that would want a signature guitar to like hand out to their employees or upper executives. The Fruit of the Loom is one of the funnier ones. I can't quite see what that one says. That looks like an interesting SG. But I swear, we have seen that guitar somewhere before. That's one of the art guitars that has a lady on it. So that'll be a Bruce Kunkel creation. I mean, you gotta remember, what year is this? This is now 1999 when this photo was taken. But, 1997 really birthed like things like the Snake Pit Les Paul. And Bruce Kunkel was doing all of their carvings for the guitars at that point. But it doesn't look like I can find the guitar that I was looking for. So let's continue on. How about this? Gibson Custom Shop offers free Les Paul guitar hanger with purchase of any custom shop guitar. Hey, that's pretty nice. Oh, that's cool. I can guarantee you that is worth like $500 to the right collector today. And to find out that it was free, all you had to do was buy a guitar? Man, I wish they still did promotions like that. That looks like one of the canary yellow Les Paul Catalinas in there. But you can check out the Catalina video here if you want to learn more about those. Basically the first model that was chambered in the custom shop. But this has a list of the current dealers back in 1999. Making Music, I've heard of those guys in Chicago, Illinois. Vintage World, Flame Top Specialists. I can't say I've heard of them. House of Guitars, they're still around. I wish Grandma's Music and Sound was still there. That sounds like a shop I would go to. Huber and Breeze, yep, they're still around. Guitar Showcase, I think I've heard of them. Legit Music, I haven't heard of those. Dave's Guitar Shop, he was around. Same thing with Bazaar Guitar. But as far as the Internet Archive is concerned, the first time we actually see this whole thing he was talking about, Gibson Global Auction, was in December of 1998. Now, that doesn't mean it didn't come before that. It's just the first time that I found anything on their website from the archives. So let's check this out. Yeah, Gibson was Reverb before Reverb and eBay. Well, when did eBay start? So this is probably a direct competition. Yeah, so they were birthed in 1995. So that's the Old West days when, you might send some money to a guy, you might not get what you actually purchased. So it makes sense that Gibson would offer a service like this to sell their instruments. Gibson will inspect and verify the model, year, condition, and originality of every instrument. Any brand, any model. And their fee was 10% or $40 minimum. That's not too bad in today's terms, but you also have to remember inflation. What year are we? 1999? So it's roughly $65 today, according to this random website, for a minimum or 10%. I mean, a lot of these guitars, I think they'd be what? $3,000, $4,000 or so. So that seems reasonable because that's what everybody used to pay just to eBay for listing their own stuff. And they're just basically going to put it on their website that gets over 200,000 hits per day. So let's check it out. What do they got here? Fortunately, the first documented case is in April of 1999, where they had a 88 ES347S. What is that? It's like a 355 mixed with a 335 with some other elements going on. All right. They had a Stratocaster, a bunch of Fenders in here, actually. The Nighthawk Special, that was only 3 years old at that point. Some Explorers. Let's see if we can find something that actually still has photos. Because maybe this is where that guitar was that he was remembering. Here we go. We've got some photos. Looks like a vintage ES335. Some nearly brand new Steinbergers at that time. And oh, yes. This is one of those models I want to review. It hurts me so bad to see nobody wanted this. Closed auction for $2,000. This is like a $4,500 to $6,000 guitar today. But times were very different back then. So this is what that guitar looks like. It's got the armrests. It's got the extended long nose pick guard. I mean, for all intents and purposes, as far as I understand it, it's just a regular 1957 reissue style guitar, but it's got those things on it. The reason why I want to document it is because, hey, it's a limited edition guitar. It's tied to Les Paul. It's tied to Mary Ford. It's just an interesting piece of history. This particular one we're looking at today has quite nice wood grain too. But that one was serial number 87257. So, hey, if you own that one, it was sold by Gibson at one point in time through their website. And then, hey, check this thing out, a Heritage. That's kind of an interesting looking guitar, Florentine style cutaway with the Heritage headstock. Kind of like a ES 175-ish vibes, but with humbuckers. Oh, and a Starburst Elite. Here's a photo of one I found on the internet. I feel like today it'd be worth a lot more than $1,000 though. So they've got the star inlays on these things. That's what makes them interesting. The sharp Florentine cutaway for an acoustic. Fancy top on this thing. But I wanted to see the headstock. Okay, so it's just got some stars. That's cool. But now we broke through Y2K. Everything's still okay. February 29th. It must have been a leap year. Look at this thing. I mean, yeah, we have this 55 Les Paul Jr. with the matching amp. But what is this? 1992 Gibson EB750. So it's like an ES 175 meets bass. That's kind of cool, but I've got to say, I don't like the double pickup version as much as that single pickup that we were seeing back on the old website. I do like that we have the flower pot inlay right there with the abalone. Wow. Looks like it might have been active pickups for a lot of these. But something about this one strikes me as better. Like, it's a very dark vintage color, only one pickup, still has the trapeze tailpiece, doesn't look like it's bound or anything. I thought it had the winged F-hole on the headstock. That's what I was hoping for. You know, like what you find on the RD Artist. But that's probably just the flower pot too. That single pickup is really cool. It did not sell though for $900. So it seems like these were auctions, not necessarily, hey, you can buy this guitar. So definitely following eBay's format there. Oh, wow. There was even a version with Trini Lopez sound holes. Nice. But I cannot find on the internet just another single pickup version of that thing. Once again, you find cool stuff digging in deep internet. Like in May, we had this 98 Explorer and limited edition Flying V listed. So that's the custom shop version right there. That's pretty cool. But this is the newer USA release, where they kind of blend the elements between a 67 Flying V and a Carina style one with the output jack on the front. But it's very similar to the one that they had just recently brought back. But in August, they had a 65 Mustang and a Charvel bass. But so far, still no signs of a strange Les Paul Lite. Now, wouldn't it be really funny if we could find like a counterfeit Gibson listed in this? I don't think that was as much of a problem back then because most of the Gibsons are based off of 2003, 2004-ish era. Les Paul standards, they always have that same serial number. So we're not quite there yet. But sadly, it looks like this service might have been starting to get shut down in the early 2000s, like according to the archives around March 31st. So this service really only existed for a couple of years. And I've got to say, I am not surprised at all because, I mean, this is not worth Gibson's time. Unless they're starting their own division of buying and selling guitars. It's a lot of risk to put on the line for such little reward. And maybe they just weren't really having that much luck selling these things. I noticed some of the guitars, they stuck around for quite some time. And this is just a very brief snapshot of what actually happened here. So this was really cool to learn about. I hope that was well worth your price of admission of clicking this video to check some of that stuff out. Oh, and now they're talking about the collector cards. Is that what I've seen on eBay before? Yeah, I've definitely seen these things before. I think Gibson was trying to cash in on because Pokemon cards, they were pretty big at this time. So they were trying to make adults collect collectible cards of guitars. It could work. I've had a similar thought before. Yeah, full color photograph of it, as well as the history and specifications on the back. And that was back before all this great information was on the internet and you had YouTube videos and stuff. But man, they were asking $1 per card back then. But moving into April, man, this thing just kind of goes all over. I thought I was going in order, but this is when we start talking about the Smartwood series of guitars. You can check out this review and demo to learn more about those. Essentially, they were trying to use more sustainable woods. Some of those guitars are actually pretty cool, but it was celebrating Earth Day. You could win a Smartwood exotic. That's pretty cool. But ooh, let's check this out. So I was hoping this would be for the Spider-Man movie one. That's a very popular custom shop signature guitar. But this is for the top graphic one. But it is nice that we can verify it was a limited edition of 150 guitars. Now, whether they actually made that many or not, who knows? You see those things show up occasionally. Right now, there's only this one. It was done up in 2000, but that was for that movie. And yeah. as weird as these things look, I mean, as long as you're a super Spider-Man fan, there's a big fan base for this particular model. Even though most promotional guitars are worth way less, this is one that just seems to have enough fans of what it's portraying here that people want it. Now we're on March 2nd of the year 2000. I think something happened to their website that day. That's why this particular one happened to get captured, because yeah, all these Gibsons. But hey, look at that, an SG Supreme. Oh, and here it seems I've stumbled upon Les Paul Gothic and SG Gothic original articles. There we go, official Les Paul Gothic profile. Yeah, I mean, we pretty much knew all this stuff, 490R, 498T, but it's cool to see the official one. And then yes, the SG Supremes we were just talking about. Here's their official page right here. Those ones came stock with 57 classic pickups, and those are the official color names here. But now we skip a couple of months. It looks like they finally fixed their website. I wonder if what they were trying to do was change the photo, because up until then it had just been that R7. Now they've got a mandolin and some other stuff, so maybe they're having some issues there. But this is something I wanted to talk about. Look at this, Austin Powers ES335. So apparently the story behind this is New Line Cinema announced today that they had 2 of these guitars made, and basically they were auctioning it off, and they were hoping it would sell for more than $10,000. And it was signed by Mike Myers, and it got me thinking, I would really like to see this guitar, because, you know, as far as these promotional cheesy guitars go, it's kind of cool. It's almost Zakk Wylde vibes. But hey, yeah, here it is. One of the 2. I'm not sure if it's the one that was auctioned off or not, but the Mojo Burst ES335. This seller's just on vacation, so I mean, it seems like it might be fair game if you'd actually still like to own this. The frets definitely need cleaned. It's got a cool purple back. Yeah, that's just a sweet guitar that we've just unearthed here. If you're a big fan of the movie or something, it's just kind of a exotic guitar, I would say. If it didn't have this on the headstock, I think a lot of people could appreciate it for what it is. Here's an article about the original 7-string. So this is early 2000 when Epiphone did 7-string Les Pauls. I didn't know they did that. I knew they did the Vs. So it talks about George Van Epps, known as the father of the 7-string guitar all the way back in 1938. But instead of gentiness, it was probably more for jazziness. And here's a signature Y2K Gibson Montana acoustic model. It's like one of those tiny J200s. I think, what did they call them? J185s? But instead of being the whole Y2K scare, it's Y for Yoakum, and then 2K for the year 2000. But now I found a link about NAMM Show 1999. What would we see here? What were the new instruments back in this day? Oh man, photos like these. They're just kind of cool to see. Making fun of the space. You call that a store? You call that a display? Like, I would totally find this more funny if it was like making fun of Fender or something, but it's themselves. Got an Elvis cardboard cutout. Oh, the little BB King model and the Blues Hawk. Yeah, that's right. That's about when these things were coming out. I've seen one of these things for sale before. I wanted to buy it. Then we've got the Smart Woods back here. The Zakk Wylde in that photo. Looks like a Switchmaster. Oh man. Savage Garden, Ben Carey, Danny Wilde, Elliot Easton, sweet. Yep, he was there. And a few other artists. I was hoping to see more about like the special guitars that you sometimes find. But it just looks like some acoustic stuff here. Okay, I might have stumbled upon something here. So ES 135 and 175 Swingmaster guitars. Available in custom coral, mint green, daddy-o yellow, and out-of-sight white. I like that. Kind of an interesting guitar. The only thing that really differentiates it from what it's kind of, based off of comes down to the bound headstock, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, it looks like we have very limited documentations of such guitar, except for this prototype that's kind of in like an orange finish. Oh, okay. There's kind of like a yellowish looking one. And pretty much the best photo that we could find here of the ES 175 version. These things are pretty cool. I mean, they encapsulate the whole rockabilly culture. Ebony fretboard, you can see it's developed the fret nib gap, unfortunately. That was just common in this era. And as far as pinup girls go, at least it's a good quality photo, right? Sometimes they're kind of blurry. There it is. It actually says Swingmaster on the headstock. That's kind of cool. Oh, here's some bigger names of artists. So we got Zach Wilde, Henry there with Slash looking really out of place. The then CEO of Gibson, if you're not familiar, and Slash. I'm sure you guys know Slash. Oh, okay. So that's Zach back then before he had a big beard. And that's his Rough Cut LP. You can find those occasionally for sale in Japan. There were very few of those things made. And yeah, these are the very early days of the Bullseye signature guitar. You know, back when Zach actually worked with these guys before he had his own guitar brand. Matthias Jobs of the Scorpions with a reissue. Him with Slash. Oh, and even one of those freaky snakehead guitars. I forget what they're called right now. 356 or something. And here we've even stumbled upon the original page of the Tony Iommi signature Les Paul SG, I guess they called it. Nothing that we didn't necessarily already know, but cool to see it nonetheless. Looks like the next time the website changed was around June when they put an SG up here. Now that might be interesting. A birthday guitar for Les Paul. Sounds like a Les Paul Elegant that has his name somewhere on it, but I can't see it. Those are not the best photos. I think we've actually seen this one before. It might still be on Reverb. I thought I had a rock or not on it, or at least a guitar hunting where we looked at all these individual things. Yeah, because there's definitely modern photos of this thing around. And who knows, maybe this was the page that had all those photos in that Les Paul that this guy was looking for, but unfortunately, you know, those photos weren't saved. Okay, at least the Elvis Presley Super 400's here, so hey, if you own this guitar, you're welcome. I found the page for you. I like the fretboard on it, Elvis, spelled out with different varying things. You can't quite tell the details. But oh, whoa, 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 whoa. This is really cool. So there's the whole Centennial series that we talk about a lot, but apparently there was the Centennial Les Paul. So it's got Orville Gibson on it, the old style Gibson logo. I would imagine these are his crescent moons, but just bigger. You know, the original Gibson logo, and then we've got some fancy engravings here. I mean, I'd imagine Bruce Kunkel might have had something to do with some of this, maybe. It says things about diamonds are inlaid along the fretboard and around the three-way toggle switch, making it one of the most expensive guitars produced. I've never seen that. That's pretty cool. Yes! Oh, I'm so happy I found this, the Yahoo Explorer. I would love to own this guitar just because of how ridiculous it is. We've done rocker knots on it, but to have found the actual page. Wow, they made a lot more than I thought. The first 50 purchasers of the Gibson Yahoo Explorer will get a 1-year limited membership to Gibson Custom Direct, like an exclusive guitar collector's forum on the internet, I guess. Okay, so it's one-piece mahogany body, mahogany neck, ebony fretboard. Looks like 57 classic pickups, but the fact that there was more than just a handful of these things made, it kind of intrigues me. I want to learn more about this. Do we have anything on that? Gibson Custom Direct, a direct communication and sales link for a limited and exclusive group of collectors. Only 150 people can join? Huh. So like the big 150 can just collaborate together and trade and sell stuff? That's kind of what I get out of that? Okay. Seems interesting. But then the Playboy guitars. We all know about these. Nice. We found the original retail price, $7,000 each. Now they've done a bunch of different Playboy guitars. You can check out this video to learn a little bit more. But I guess with the original price of that, I guess it makes sense that some people ask so much for them. Those are one of those strange guitars that even though it's a promotional guitar, it's actually worth quite a bit, unlike most of them. And in August, we get one of the Gary Moore signature guitars at that time put on the website. And we get one of those modern art guitars over here. But what is this? Monster Flying V goes for Guinness World Record. Oh. A literal monster flying V. Like I was expecting some more Halloween content here. But no, they just made a giant guitar. You can see those guys are quite happy with themselves. Oh man, it looks like they went with Dirty Fingers pickups with the double row of pole pieces. Oh, I think we've stumbled upon something here. Visual artists collaborate with Gibson Custom to debut Art of the Guitar 2 next month. I feel like we talked about these before. Yes, I remember the Homer Simpson guitar. I'm not sure if it's still available, but yeah, we talked about these. And we did. We found a few additional ones that we had not known about before. Obviously, you can check out that video for more in-depth stuff of what I found then. Most of them were kind of fruity, weird colors like this one. Well, that's kind of an interesting one of Les Paul right there, and a straight up Les Paul custom. Kind of reminds me of the Boogie Van series. And look at that, a couple of bugs on a really expensive Switchmaster. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what this is. It looks like a robot on a burning background. Oh, sponsored by Yahoo Auctions. Maybe that's why the Yahoo Explorers happened. So maybe with the birth of Yahoo Auctions, Gibson decided, hey, we don't want to do all that other stuff, because it's around this time when they at least start not pushing it as much. Maybe they're just trying to sell out the existing inventory because it's no longer at the top of their site. Yeah, here we go. Here's the Do You Yahoo Les Paul. Oh man, I think this thing's currently for sale still, and they didn't know who the signatures were. Does this tell us? So it was auctioned off for the movement to end gun violences and their student activists network. Okay. 5 exclusive Gibson Custom Shop Yahoo Les Paul Juniors? Maybe they considered this a junior because it was a flat top though? Okay, maybe that's it. I guess I never realized it was a flat top. I thought it was carved. Each guitar is signed by some of the many artists who appeared in October 28th at the New Orleans Voodoo Music Festival. All right, but yeah, there's your answer of who all these people are. They were artists at that particular event, and it was a charity guitar. But I never realized looking at this that it was a flat top. I always thought this was carved. So technically, this is a Les Paul special custom shop. Okay, and here they're saying that they produced 50 of the Yahoo Explorers. I would have never imagined they made that many. Here's a cool photo of around Christmas time. You've got Leroy Parnell in here, as well as the old CEO of Gibson, Henry J. You know, I would like to see Gibson do a blog again like this. It kind of humanizes the company. I mean, this is when Gibson was doing really good. And maybe it has everything to do with the internet, as well as, you know, the Les Paul Classic lineup and stuff. But stuff like this, people like it. They like to read good news. Maybe Gibson should start doing this stuff again, because I always feel like we don't see enough of the CEO nowadays. I mean, I know he's busy and whatnot, and it seems he started to make a little bit more presence here and there. But it's always good to know exactly what they're working on. But it seems it's around 2002 when, the website starts to change and become a little bit more of what we associate with a standard, normal guitar website. So as of today, unfortunately, no, we did not find what guitar he was talking about, but he did find this on Sweetwater's website, one of the Gibson custom Les Paul prototypes. And then when I saw that, it's like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. We documented that in this episode. It was originally a Bruce Kunkel idea for the early 2000s. I'm not sure if this is exactly what he was thinking of, but I mean, it seems about right. It matches what he was saying, a Les Paul custom light, but completely different. I mean, there's been a few different takes on this types of guitars, but I'll let you check out this episode if you want to learn more. So Don, thank you for the idea here. It was fun going through this. If the series proves to be popular enough, maybe we'll take a look next time from the 2000s to 2010s, or you can just do it on your own through the Internet Archive. But let's face it, sometimes it's nice to have a guide that can help piece things together for you. All right, Troglodytes, thank you for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.